Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of NCIS Season 18, Episode 2, otherwise known as the 400th episode of the show. That still boggles my mind. I don't know if we're ever going to have another show that makes it to 400 episodes with the way TV is now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's very rare that we do have shows that make it to this milestone. This is a huge milestone. So congratulations to everybody who has been working on the show all this time, all the newcomers to the show, all the changes to the show. 400 episodes. It is a really great milestone.
Let's all imagine ourselves going off with Gibbs to the big party that McGee is at in a world where we can all go to parties and have a good time.
Yep.
And, we can talk to Gibbs about his boats and his gear. Like, this, if you were expecting, like, big earth-shattering revelations in this episode, I mean, maybe you were bummed out, but just, I enjoyed sort of the nostalgia and the NCIS lore that we got here.
Yeah, and I mean, the showrunners have sort of been prepping everybody for what this episode was going to be about and sort of the feel of the episode. So, I mean, most of us were going into this knowing, what to expect, and they delivered on that.
We'll talk a lot about the various moments. I think there is some fun stuff that happens. I mean, granted, there's also a case that I don't remember too much of right now, and that's just, not long after watching it. But if you guys enjoyed this discussion, subscribe to the channel. We don't want you to miss any of the other good NCIS stuff we're bringing to the table here.
And if you want to follow us on Instagram, it is Matt and Jess TV, where you can get to know us a little more personally. We don't really share a ton of stuff here at the channel, but, if you love cute dogs, that is the place to be.
My favorite thing about this episode, just really surface level, was just, I thought Mark Harmon was great. I thought his son Sean Harmon was also really, really great.
It was crazy because at first glance, he looked like a really young McGee. And I was just like, oh, wow, this is so crazy because I know that this is, Mark Harmon's son. I'm like, but I can see a little bit of Sean Murray in him as well. But he was so good. The way that he pronounces things, just like his dad. He did a great job.
It's so fun just sort of going back into this world because Sean Harmon hasn't appeared on NCIS in a long time, and you forget a lot of things with this show because you get kind of like this mush memory of hundreds of different cases, and I do like how there was sort of an honoring of things that we know. Like, we don't hear about Shannon all that much anymore, and there was just something kind of wholesome about how it was young Ducky who helped Gibbs to see the light and realize that, you don't need to throw your relationship away, Gibbs. Just make the call. Get on that bus for 5 hours.
Yeah, that it sort of was, Ducky was sort of pushing him to get past some of his fears. And we all know that Gibbs is a strong man, and he was back then as well. He was a strong young man. But when it comes to his heart, we know that can sometimes be a stumble for him, and it takes him a long time to get to where he needs to get to. But it was a very cool story to sort of see that Ducky helped sort of shape things and give him that little nudge to get on the bus and ask that important question.
I wonder what question that is.
I thought that was really cute. I really liked that.
It was very, very sweet. I think a lot of the stuff in the past was fun. I think we do need to talk about, though, that opening scene where they have, like, a top 10, like, cheesy crime show line, and I'm pretty sure that this was just left in there to be funny, where they have, like, the payroll guy who's dead, and then they're like, well, someone's not cashing their last check. It's like, oh my god,
I really like that.
Steve, I know this episode was Steve Binder's baby, and I think Steve was probably just thinking, how can I get like one really ridiculous crime procedural comment in here?
You have to have something like that for the 400th episode. You do. I was glad to see that.
It was like, that was really, really funny. I did kind of enjoy the ridiculousness of, well, as like, Ducky magically saves Gibbs' life because he somehow forgets that you drive on the other side of the road here.
Yeah.
Like, that, there was something just funny about that. There was something just fun about seeing young Gibbs and Ducky talking about, sort of their drinks of choice and how going out for drinks equals like a 3-day excursion.
And it was cool also to just see that there is still a lot of the same men that they were. You know, Ducky likes to talk a lot. Gibbs does not like to talk a lot. And now, all these years later, that part of them is still there. And I like seeing people change over time, but it's nice to see sort of the core of themselves is still there.
It's kind of fun in a way that we all think of Gibbs as like this closed off guy who doesn't say very much, but really, these first 2 episodes of season 18, is there a theme that is bigger than Gibbs bromances? Because I'm not sure that there is.
It's true.
For Nell in the premiere, we have Ducky. We kind of have the Gibbs McGee, McGibbs. Is that what we call them?
No.
Their friendship. There was some fun McGibbs stuff in here. It's happening. Hashtag McGibbs.
Oh my God, it's sticking.
If you like McGibbs, leave it in the comments.
Give this video a like.
They're all stopping watching now, but I do like the Gibbs, and like McGee wanted nothing more in the world than have Gibbs come out and celebrate with the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they put that in there too, that this was, you know, McGee's 20th anniversary since deciding that he wanted to be, you know, NCIS, and that he wanted Gibbs to be there. And I know he didn't really sort of get out what the celebration was about, but I really like that Gibbs came around to that on his own. He still didn't know that that's what he was celebrating, but he knew that McGee wanted him to be there. He was ready, again, to sort of make these small changes, open up a little bit more, and move forward a little bit more. And remembering that relationship with Ducky, where he was opening up a bit more, and because he opened up more, he made that big choice to, you know, get on that bus. And now he's sort of, we have him with that picture where he's kind of like, yes, you know, this is still important to me, still going to be here with me, but I got to take another chance. I've been asked to go out with these guys multiple times, and I never, ever, ever go. So it's time for me to go.
Those last, 2 minutes were my favorite part of this episode. I know it's silly, but, I love that we had Gibbs working on another boat. I mean, that's just nostalgic in its own way. I like that he looks at the photo. He reflects a little bit on, his past love, his life, and then he's so awkward when he's, agreeing to go out there. It's like Gibbs can't quite get the words together, so he's just like, you guys still doing this? Okay, I don't know what impression that was, but, he's just trying to figure out what they're doing and trying to dance around it, and it's just... I wish that McGee was just just say it already, Gibbs.
No, I love that it was, Gibbs is dancing around and being like, so, are you guys still out celebrating, doing whatever? Yeah, you need something? You need us to come in? No, I was just wondering what's going on. Then to just hear all that silence and then hear McGee give a, woo, he's coming out. I thought that was really cute. Because they're all bombed.
Oh, yeah, I think that was a very important subtext to that conversation. Clearly McGee was drunk when he answered the phone. I don't know if Sean Murray was, really emphasizing that, but I pulled that out of that conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Torres, at this point, is probably, dancing on top of the bar.
That's right.
Having a good... Why did we not get that scene?
I know.
That's really the thing that I wanted from this.
I really also like that they all, tried their best before to get him to the bar, because even when it was, McGee being like, we need to get somebody with some softness and doe eyes to ask him to go. I'm like, okay, are they going to call on Sloan? And then it goes to Jimmy, someone he can't say no to. And
I love how Jimmy just doesn't know what a segue is, so he just randomly brings it up in the midst of talking about a dead body.
It was classic Jimmy.
It was classic Jimmy. This episode was just, it's inconsequential, I guess, in a way where there's nothing about Gibbs and Fernell in here that matters.
No, there was just that one text where Gibbs is like, where you been? It's been a week. And Fernell's like, I said 2, butch.
What did you think was going to happen, Gibbs? He said 2 weeks, and ironically, there's not even a new episode scheduled for next week, so it's we don't even get to know what the 2 weeks are going to be, but...
No.
Just because they had set this episode in that same past window, it's all so ridiculous, but, we knew that there is if there was something really huge that happened in this episode, presumably we would have heard about it through the rest of season 17. So we kind of had that knowledge going in that they weren't going to completely like shake the foundation of the show. But the question I have is, do you wish they had sort of said, okay, let's put a line in here about Tony or about Ziva or about Abby or about like some of these characters who got us to 400 episodes? Do you think that was important?
I think it's a hard line because once you mention them, then you've got people, fans like us, that are like, well, then where are they? Like, this is the 400th episode. So if you're going to mention them, you got to give us more than a mention. Like, oh, I got a phone call from Abby, or Tony FaceTimed us, or like, that's not, it's just not enough. There has to be more. If you're going to go that route, you have to actually give us something. It can't be some off-screen mention. So for me, I'm happier that they went this way, because if they are going to mention a Tony and a Ziva, then they need to give me more at this point.
I think you're probably right. Like, I put a lot of thought into this because I of course I do want to see Ziva back on NCIS, and we still haven't seen the Tony Ziva reunion. I mean, nope. Granted, that wouldn't have even happened at this point in the timeline with where the show was, but I do want to see them, of course, do more nods and Easter eggs, and maybe you'll do that in, like, the series finale or something like that, whenever that is. But, this episode, it was sort of the history lesson of how Gibbs met Ducky and what that relationship meant to each other. And they are the only cast members now who were there on day one and are still there.
Yeah, which is why I'm glad that they decided to just focus in on the two of them. They are the two original cast members that are still there, that have been here the whole way. It was a really nice way to honor the show, honor the two original cast members who have been there for all these seasons. I really enjoyed it.
One thing I am also very glad of that I was legitimately worried about is because we don't get very much David McCallum anymore. Mm-hmm. I was really worried that they were going to write out Ducky in this episode and that this was going to be like his last appearance as a major character. And I don't know why I was worried about this. I just was.
No, I feel like David's on a really good schedule now where it's a little bit less demanding. He can come back when, the story is a good one that he's like, yeah, I really like this. Or like, I don't want to come back right now. Like, he can still come in and give us the Ducky when it's time to give us the Ducky. Yeah. And the stories are going to be good, and there's no reason for him to say goodbye, and I'm really glad that he did. That would have been a really sad 400th episode. They're going to come in and kick us in the heart.
I would have been mad. Like, we're already losing Sloane at some point fairly soon, which I could have used a little more Sloane, if I'm being honest, in this episode. But, I'm glad we still have Ducky. I'll be honest, I know with the health crisis right now, I don't know how much we're going to see of Ducky in the immediate future. It may be sort of like Hetty on NCIS LA, where we're not seeing a lot of him for a while, yeah. But it was nice to have him here. This whole episode, it was just nice. It was just a nice little escape from the world.
Yep.
Gibbs opened up. We saw some case about, a crime family, I guess I've already forgotten.
Yeah, that's been going on for, I guess, all this time, as long as, these two have known each other. So, it's not a case that's going to necessarily stick with me, but it was interesting in the way that it is sort of this full circle from, like, you guys met from a case, and now we're here, 400th episode, closing that case.
I do love how in the opening it ended with Gibbs coming out of the trunk, because I was seeing all these, like, random characters. I didn't know who any of these people were. And with that whole crime spoof line about the payroll guy being dead, I was like, are the NCIS cast watching, like, a crime show where there's, like, this cheesy line thrown in? But they kind of caught me off guard with that, and I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we want to know your thoughts on this. It was episode 400. Did it live up to your expectations? Do you think we will get a 500th episode of NCIS?
We can hope.
It's a crazy thing to think about.
I know, right? But I mean, look at SVU. It's it's so far deep into their run. I mean, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Maybe that would be like in, I don't know, season 21, 22. I don't know. I can't do math in the middle. But let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments. And if you enjoyed this discussion, subscribe to the channel. Give us a like. Support us further. Check those links to the store as well as our Patreon. And we will see you here next time.